Folks, welcome back to Real Estate Investing Unmasked. Today we're going to install a toilet. I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright guys, here's where it's going to go. We got a tub that's right here. We've got the flooring right there directly underneath the window, and we have the vanity that's going to go over there. So here, these are the measurements we got to do. You might be able to see I've written it down. You go 12.5 inches from the wall, and you center that 15.5 inches over from where you're going to have the drywall. Now, because I'm dealing with framing, I'm going to go up from the frame 15.5 inches in, 12.5 inches in from there. We figure 1/2 inch for the drywall, so that gives us 12 inches from the wall, and that is the measurement for where the toilet needs to be centered. So it's going to go somewhere right around that little shadow point. So I've already knocked the hole right here. I'm going to cut off the little bit that was left over from this little piece. There we go. Alright, so I got the hole out. There you go. There you go, so you can see the hole there. We've drilled the initial hole with this. This is an inch and a quarter auger, whatever, a speed bore. I found that down below, the measurements that we had, we ran into the support beam. Now that I have a pilot hole done with this speed bore, now I'm going to take a sawzall because I do not have a hole saw with me. Once again, I'm on a remote site and did not bring tools with me. It's not my tools, but I do have a reciprocating saw and a wood blade, and we're going to make it work. That's one way of getting a hole. See there? Just got a little bit more to go. Cut the hole, ran out of battery, but I got most everything done that I need to on that. So this will fit in the hole where it belongs. I need to cut a little bit more so that I have room to glue in the pipe down below. I also now need to drill a hole for the water line to come up to provide water for the toilet. Now here in North Dakota, we don't put water lines in the exterior wall because they would freeze, and that would give us the same problem we had before. So with the basement, we can drill it straight through the floor. We can put in a valve, and then we're good to go. Let's see, we're doing PEX. So we need enough room for the PEX. This is a 7/8, that should work. The toilet bowl has the water coming in on the left side. Do you have any problems with it being right here? Back behind the toilet? No, that's good. Okay. The hole just has to be big enough for the PEX to come through. So this is a 7/8 bit. That's plenty big for a 1/2 inch PEX line to come through. This has a PEX ending with a shark bite here, shark bit thing at the end. So you attach the PEX by shoving it in there, and that will grab hold and it's installed. Alright, so that little piece I showed you, it is now attached. There is a part of this. There's a part of this that is built so that it can come apart again. The only issue is you do have to shut off the water to do it. And I've asked the owner if that's okay if we go ahead and install it now. He said, yeah, that's fine, because he has so many valves downstairs to turn off water in so many different ways that he's got redundancy in his valve. So let me show you. This little piece right here, you see this little gray piece? Yeah, right there. So if we take that gray piece out, now this little collar moves up. When that collar moves up, it allows the PEX to come out. When that collar is in place, and this little piece is there, right there, it can't come out. So that's the main thing you have to have installed all the time, or this thing could come off, which could be a little scary, but at least now we can go ahead and install it. We can test it out and everything, get the toilet going. So this little booger, the better than wax dilly-majigger, so that we can install the toilet, and then when we put down the flooring, take it back out again and still use this thing, because it would not have been in there long enough to deteriorate. You can't do that with wax, but you can do that with this. So we're good there. It is flush with the ground. Oh, oops. One thing to keep in mind when you're installing these flanges, totally lost my mind there for a second. You have to have somewhere for the bolts to stick up to put the toilet on top. And the way I have the flange now, it actually will twist around, but the where the bolts would be the front of the toilet and the back of the toilet. That doesn't work. It's got to be both on the side and the other side of the toilet. So I can take the screws out, move it around to where it's supposed to be, and then drill it back in. Inside your kit, you should have, this is a spacer, not necessary in most cases, unless your flange is below the floor level. Now, in this owner's case, when they put the flooring in, I think it's going to be linoleum, not tile, which means it's not going to be below the level, which means we don't need this. However, we're going to hold on to it just in case, because if he decides to go with a thicker flooring, he can always install that. In the meantime, this one, there you go, show it to you. There you go. It's not very thick, but it does the job. And so even if they put in a short tile or a small tile, this would make up the difference, and then the toilet can still sit flush and not allow the sewer gases to come into the house. That's the point of this thing, is not allow liquids, if it gets backed up, liquids and solids to come into the house. It also prevents sewer gas from coming in the house and stinking it up. So, and I've got another video that I did on that up here. This goes in here. There we go. And then also inside this kit are these little bolts. Now these bolts are special. They got these little heads right there that are oblong. And those go inside that flange, so you can stick them in, slide them where they need to be, and they set in place. And it has a couple of washers to help them keep in place. So we're going to open this up, pour out all the contents on the floor. But it's also nice to sweep up and keep your work area clean. And we will get these in place. Now, it came with plastic washers and metal washers. Plastic washer holds it in place onto the flange. Metal washer goes on top of the bolt, and then the nut goes down on top of that. But the toilet, the porcelain goes between these two washers just like this. So bolt comes up, hits the plastic one, holds it in place, but the bolt goes through to this washer, and then the nut goes on top, tightens it all up, and then you're good to go potty. Okay, so I've got the flange installed, I got the bolts ready to go, I got the Better Than Wax seal on there, I got the water in place. Now I just got to set the toilet on top, but you, being my camera, are sitting on top of the toilet, so you're gonna have to move. You've been moved, so now I can move the toilet. And when it comes to toilets, it's only those two bolts that are holding the thing down. Okay, we need some shims for the top of the toilet to lift it up. So I'm going to go get something for the top of the front of the toilet to rest on to raise it up, because right now it's leaning forward because we do have that spacer in there. And then I can tighten it down and put the bowl on. It is right now probably about 3/4 of an inch away from the wall, which means we do have room for drywall. And that's good.
The idea of American exception. Yeah, that's for sure.
The toilet is going to come in right there. Is the flange. I know, terrible cut, right? I didn't have a hole saw, so deal with it. Anyway, that'll come down here, and then it goes all the way across over to there. And to do that, we've got that pipe way over there. That's going to go up to the toilet flange, and that is going to connect to this pipe right here. All right, guys. Today we got a toilet right here. That drain is too close to the wall, so the toilet won't fit. So we're actually going to have to cut it back. But it's not as easy as it looks. If you see down there, there's a support beam right in there. We got to come forward somewhere between 1/2 to 1 inch. So we're going to cut that support beam, but in order to do that, you got to brace it. So we're going to put a 2x6 bracing down below, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so here we have the support beam right here. So we're gonna cut that. See how close that is? So we're gonna cut this out. We're gonna move the pipe this way, and in order to do that, we're gonna have to take a cut right here and put a union in. So I have to cut and then go about another inch or so, inch or ½ inch to an inch, and that will bring it closer together. We'll put a brace right here. So we'll put a board from here to here, which also means we gotta take this little board, these two little cross boards out. It's not providing any support really. But by putting a 2x6 from say here over to here, that will take the strength between the two boards. The other good thing is that this beam is really close to the wall, and the only thing it's supporting really is going to be the vanity, the toilet, and a portion of the bathtub. Now the bathtub is going to have this beam and that beam and that beam and that beam and that beam, or 3 or 4 other beams. So it really is getting a fraction of the weight put onto it, which means bracing it is not going to hurt it at all. All right, this is the final product for the plumbing downstairs. We've got that one going up to the sink, this one going to the toilet, and this one going to the bathtub. So we have built-in P-traps everywhere that need to have them. It's strapped up and tied into the main line. We got the toilet together. We were able to back up the bottom there just enough. See that little screw, that little bolt right there? So we got to tighten that nut up. We got to tighten that nut up, and then we're going to put the water supply right there. And on the other side, same thing, except there's no water supply. See, we'll tighten up that nut there. And right in the middle, I don't think you guys can see that anymore, was that little gasket there. And that is what makes it so that no water can come out through the from the tank down here and onto the floor. It's got a little rubber gasket, so to speak, that gets squished, and then it makes it watertight. So we got to tighten up those screws. They'll make the tank nice and tight. Right now you can see it kind of very shaky, whereas the toilet is not. Now notice down here at the toilet I got some shims. When the flooring is installed, the flooring will take up some of that gap, but even then plastic shims are probably the ones that will need to be installed. Now we got PEX down there with a vanity ring. When the flooring's installed, this will be pulled down and it will look just like that, and that'll be good enough. And this has that little gray disc thing that can be pulled out, which then allows the PEX to be released, and then they can install the flooring no problem. We got that installed. There's a little cap that goes on top of that. But once all that is done, you got to install the toilet seat, put on the lid, turn on the water. We're good. Got the toilet in place. Now the toilet is not level right now. What we're going to do is wait for the flooring to be installed. Once the flooring is installed, then we'll go ahead and level out the toilet, and it works just fine. It's not leaking or anything. It works great. All right, folks, so if there's something else that you're unsure of how to install or what to do, put a text or put a comment down below, and we'll see if we can help you out. There may be a project that I get invited on, or a project that I do, that I can teach you how to do something to help you inside your house, because as investors, it's really important that you know how to fix stuff. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. You'll see a whole lot more I got for you guys. Till later.